And welcome to Live Bird TV. So the news coming through is obviously, going to divide opinion, split opinion, but in my opinion, it's big news, and it's the news that I wanted to hear because everybody knows my thoughts and feelings on the fact that FSG and Liverpool has been a marriage made in heaven, in my opinion, if you consider the fact that you'd be quite stupid to not think that when you look at it as in terms of we've won every single trophy there is to win, more or less. So yeah, they need to spend a bit more. They know that. We know that. But reading this out, what I'm going to read out to you in a second, it more or less describes that exact thing anyway. So obviously FSG have said that Liverpool is not for sale, and I don't think they ever came out and said that it was for sale. That was Twitter and rumours going about, as always, social media. Obviously the response from the fan base I've had a look at, and I don't mean to offend anybody here, but 90% of the people that have angry emojied the news are the ones that are 1,000 miles away, that have no clue to what FSG have actually done. What we do is that, I don't mean this in an offensive way, I really don't, but you have to have been to Anfield. You have to have, like myself, I'm quite fortunate to have worked at the club for a couple of years, so I got to see more or less everything that was going on, not just at Anfield where I worked, but I also worked at Melwood for a bit, and I also worked at the AXA training ground as well. So when I was working at the training ground, I remember we were just starting the build of AXA's training facility, which is the £60 million extension that FSG paid for, and that is absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, the facilities there are absolutely frightening. Now, what you don't see when we're not spending money like Chelsea are doing at the moment is you don't see what's happening to the infrastructure to the club. No disrespect, if you're thousands of miles away and you just turn up to watch Liverpool play on the Sky Sports channel, you're not going to see it. I've personally seen the effects of FSG and been very fortunate to have lifted 4 of the trophies that we've won on the pitch at Anfield. So I've kind of witnessed it firsthand. That season, well, the year where we won, I think, with the European Cup, the Premier League and all that, World Club Cup and Super Cup. It was a memorable year. Now, with the news about Manchester City's FFP 115 charges, that actually tells you that we probably should, no, in fact, not probably, we would have won a lot more if we wasn't sort of fighting against a team that was just cheating, basically. That's a fact, because these advantages that Man City, sort of got on us, we lost the league to them by a point and a couple of points. Now, these fine margins are massive. So if you can get a top player because you can pay him, shadow contracts, and the player makes the difference in a game and they win it, that extra point is cheating, in my opinion. So I think that FSG are quite unfortunate that they've had to face the Man City sort of owners that are complete cheats, because I actually think they should be sat on 2 or 3 titles now. Maybe, all right, you probably say the Champions League different because Man City haven't won the Champions League, but league titles, most definitely we should be sat on at least another couple of titles. So, but that's all if, buts and maybes. What I'm excited about is the future of the football club, because I don't think that the Anfield Road end will be the last phase of FSG, because they said they wasn't going to build another stand after the main stand, and they went straight ahead with Anfield Road. So I think they just say that to, keep the locals. My kids actually live there outside the ground. The locals happy because of the constant construction and stuff like that. So I think they sometimes always give it a couple of years till it does settle from a previous build. But I can see Anfield going to phase 3 and then in the future possibly phase 4. But what I'm happy about is this. Now I'm going to get this across to the people that are either FSG out or FSG sort it out. We are very fortunate to have businessmen that literally are world class, right? And what I mean by world class is they do not run the club at a loss. They have a transfer strategy which goes back from their success they had at baseball, where they copied the famous Moneyball. I tell a lot of fans you have to watch that film with Brad Pitt in it. for you to get what FSG stand for. Because at the end of that film with Brad Pitt, you actually see John Henry, not the real John Henry, an actor playing John Henry, you know, writing an incredible amount on a piece of paper to try and get their way of the strategy, the way of I think getting baseball players that are past it, or baseball players that are young before you go and spend this money. It's the same for football. So here's a classic example. We're now seeing the fruits of FSG stealing all these youngsters that we were stealing over the course of the first few years with them. Because for Stefan Basic, we got for 225,000 from Celta Vigo. That lad now is one of the first names on the team sheet. I mean, Mohamed Salah said that basically, you know, he's our best player at the moment. So there's the Moneyball mechanism working already. Harvey Elliott's another classic example of us getting youngsters early. Ben Doak is another classic example. I said this, right? All those that scream FSG out because they don't spend money, blah, 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 right? They actually forget the signings we've made that are going to be coming through over the next 18 to 24 to 36 to 40 odd months, 50 months, right? Because there's lads like Kane Doherty, there's lads like, you know, I've said Ben Doak, there's Bobby Clark, there's all these lads that could save us absolute millions in the transfer market. And people think that means they don't have to spend. But what they could do, and what Klopp could do, is they could just prioritise a major target, say one a season. Say if we just wanted to get Jude Bellingham this summer, and we just had the budget for him, right? But yet we had Bobby Clark coming through and Bajcetic and stuff like that could come in and do a become a world-class player. We're saving having to do what Chelsea's done now, which is go out and spend 600 million and try and fit them all together. We can actually bring through youth. I mean, I love the story that Bajcetic is more or less being tutored by Thiago. I mean, what a player to be tutor, you know, to be your tutor, Thiago. You know, man's played for Bayern Munich, for Barcelona, you know. So, you know, this is what I'm saying. You have to stop looking at spending loads of money as making somebody a great owner, right? The Glazers have spent an absolute fortune on wages and players since they became the owners of Manchester United. Yet Manchester United fans absolutely hate them. Why? Because a lot of the money has been completely thrown on crap, and they've just bought names rather than having a philosophy like we have always had with Klopp and FSG, which is bring through youths, try and steal a bargain, get players like Luis Diaz for less than 40 million, Cody Gakpo for less than 40 million, Bobby Firmino for less than 30 million, Mane for 30 million, Salah for 30 million, Robertson for 7 million, Matip on a free, James Milner on a free. This is not bad business just because they're not spending 600 million. Bad business is what Chelsea and that lunatic Todd Bowley's doing as we speak. That is having lunatic owners. Now, all them fans wanting FSG out and not FSG sort it out, they want a Todd Bowley. They want a, you know, an owner like Manchester City have got that will have 115 charges just so they can win some plastic trophies because they've cheated through every one of them trophies, and that's a fact since 2009. FSG haven't. They are one of the powerhouse organisations that were actually getting onto UEFA and the Premier League about Man City. John Henry knew that Manchester City were cheating. He knew from day one. So now what's he doing? He's thinking to himself, right, how are we going to compete with these? Because we don't have the wealth they have. Right, I tell you what we'll do. If FSG were the owners that those that want them out are, which is just milking the club dry and taking every pound out of it, you answer these questions that I'm going to ask you right now. Why haven't they done what the Glazers have done, which is take a dividend out of the club every year? Why haven't they left the club in debt? Why haven't they bought the club with debt like the Glazers did? Why haven't they built any stands like the Glazers haven't? Why have they built a £150 million main stand? Why have they built a £65 million Anfield Road extension? Why have they built a £60 million extension to the academy? if they were just here to just milk Liverpool dry, they just kept Liverpool at the stadium like the Glazers have done as it was, and just took the money, took the money, took the money. And here's the last question: why wouldn't they sell the club right now? And like you say, they've bought the club for 300 million and they're going to sell them for 3 to 4 billion and sail off into the sunset. I love what I'm going to read out to you in a minute. John Henry actually says, when have we ever sold anything? When have we ever sold anything? And that's him saying that they're loyal to their businesses. They're loyal to everything they own. They don't walk away and they see it through. He also says, are we going to be in England forever? The answer is no. Are we for sale? The answer is no. But are we going to get investment in? Do I think that will happen? The answer is yes. Now, with that statement that John Henry has just said himself, there is still people angry and wanting them out. I want to ask you the question, why do you want them out? He's just said there and then that they know they need business, they need to spend money. They know they need investment, right? Do they think they're going to get the investment? Yes. So if you want FSG out, it's because you want them to spend more money. But if they're going to get more money by selling a part of the club, you've got what you want. So why do you want them out? You know, they could do a partial sale, and that would make us spend the money to make us go on for the next decade, right? And they know how to build the stadium to a bigger level and do phase 3 and phase 4. Why would you want to throw that out? To go and get a Todd Bowley or go and get a flipping, Dubai royal family we don't want to be state owned. It's going to be very close soon that Manchester, the city of Manchester, will have sold its soul, because both of their football clubs are about to be state owned, and that is selling their soul. Football club as big as Manchester United bowing down to the Middle East. Liverpool, we don't need to. We are a big enough football club like Real Madrid, Barcelona, to bring in record income like FSG have proved and be able to compete. Why? How do I know that? Here's my answer. We've been in 3 Champions League finals in the last 5 years. We've won the Premier League. We've lost the Premier League by a point and 2 points, right? We've lost the Premier League to a team that has cheated 115 times, right? But we've been able to compete. We've got Gakpo, who looks like he's going to just keep scoring now. He's going to go on to be worth 4 times the value we've paid for him. Luis Diaz, when he comes back in a few weeks, is going to be worth 2 or 3 times the value you paid for him. You've now got Darwin Núñez, who's starting to show that he's a world-class striker. He's going to be one of the best strikers in the world in the next couple of years. I can't understand what the people that want FSG out, why they want them out. If you want them to spend more money, then it's more a case of the poll I did yesterday, which is FSG sort it out. But when if he made a statement today and he came out and he said, right, we're not for sale, and that was it, I could understand. But they come out and said, we're not for sale because we don't think we need to sell. Well, we're just going to get like a partial sale done, or an investment coming into the club, because what's the problem? And I'm just reading the comments coming through now, and Ryan Bignell, you've just hit the nail on the head. It must have been FSG's fault. We won everything and all. It is. Even when you read a comment like that, if you are still wanting our owners out, right? There's only one way you can be described, because even John Henry's telling you he's going to give you what he wants, right? Which is, he knows we're going to have to spend big in the summer. Klopp has never ever publicly come out and said, we all know we've got to spend big in the summer. He likes to keep his cards close to his chest. But even Klopp is saying it now. We know we have to spend big in the summer, right? So this is a collective now. So FSG are looking for investment so that they can fund this transfer outlay. So if that's not spelling it out to you that they're trying to give you what you want, but yet you still want them out, then that tells me that what you want is you want a module like Man City's. You want endless pits of money, Erling Haaland on nearly £1 million a week, and you want players literally being brought in so you can bang him in on your FIFA career mode, or you can stick him in on your Football Manager, right? You're not a football fan and you're not a Liverpool fan, because if you're a Liverpool fan, you don't want FSG out, you want FSG to just spend a bit more money and sort it out. And why? Because we have had some of the greatest nights of our lives under their stewardship, right? Anfield is becoming a better stadium every year under their stewardship. We have Jurgen Klopp. Just think now, just cast your mind back to Hicks and Gillette when we had Roy Hodgson, stuff like that, right? Just them dark days, right? Just cast your mind back, right, to before FSG came in, when we were buying players like Paul Konchesky, and we were buying players like Raul Meireles, and we were buying players like, you know, David and Gog, you know, I mean, come on, Jay Spearing in midfield. And yet FSG gets stick for bringing in players like Sadio Mane, you know, Bobby Firmino, Mohamed Salah, you know, Fabinho, Van Dijk, Alisson, and this pathetic narrative that keeps getting said, well, if the only reason we bought Van Dijk and Alisson is because we got the Coutinho money. Yeah, get this into your thick schools. It was FSG's absolute world-class transfer strategy that got Coutinho for £8 million from Inter Milan and sold him for 147 million to fund them two deals. And they could have banked 100 million of it and said to Klopp, you can have Virgil, you're not having Alisson, or you can have Alisson, you're not having Virgil, we're banking 75 million of it. Did they? No. They gave every single penny to Klopp to spend on the team. So stop using that as an excuse, because that still pisses me off that people don't give them credit for anything. They won't give him credit for Basetic being signed for 225 grand. They won't give him credit for getting Ben Doak for 300,000. It's at 600,000, absolute steal. They won't give him credit for the training ground, won't give him credit for the bandstand, won't give him credit for the Annie Road end, right? So it's just, it is what it is. So the way I look at it is, it's about time, and I'm going to say this for the last time, right? If you persist with FSG out after this summer, if we go and spend 250 million, right? I'm not being funny, but that's the final straw for me. I mean, you can go and create your own group. Go and create FSG Out Brigade. Hashtag, come and join FST Out TV. Create your own channel. You're allowed to have your own opinion. I agree with you. And if FSG don't go out this summer and do what I believe they will do, and what they're saying they're going to do, then I will totally understand your views. But if you persist trying to ruin the harmony of our support of our club, right, with these nasty campaigns and the hatred of Klopp and the trending out, then you're not welcome on my group on Live Bird TV, because I want this to be a group that's got the core of the people and the fans that have a realistic, proper point of view about the club. And it doesn't mean agree with me, because I'm actually agreeing with you at the moment that FSG need to prove some of you right by getting it right in the summer. I'm on about ones that are just absolute parasites to the club, the ones that don't care, the ones that when we go for a bad run of form, that put angry emojis to like Henderson and Milner when he's in the starting 11, talking about them like they're a shower of shit and don't deserve to wear the shirt no more because they've had a bad game. They're the fans that I'm talking about. Plastics, absolute plastics. Now, it is what it is now. We've got our form back. I was saying it for weeks. We're a result away from a spark. We get that spark with the players returning, we could go on a big run from now to the end of the season. I was saying this in the season when we lost 5 in a row at Anfield and we ended up finishing the top 4. I was saying it again. Yes, it didn't look possible at one point, but I never, ever lost belief in these players. They don't become bad players overnight. I think the fact they played 63 games last season, counteract the fact there was a mid-season World Cup, that's affected them, and I just genuinely believe that it swayed them off. But I actually now think that they're going to be fresher. The Bobby Firminos, the Luis Diaz, Diego Jotas, they're going to be fresher than anyone in the second part of this season, and I believe we can hit an amazing run. And I wouldn't even, I said this on the group, you know I did, I would not rule us out winning another European Cup, or at least getting to the final in Istanbul. So I'm just going to read out this anyway, and then I'm going to get to your comments. So, Liverpool owner John W. Henry has given an emphatic statement on Fenway Sports Group's plans for investment, insisting the club is not up for sale. Since November, it has been widely reported that following FSG's confirmation they are seeking investment, Liverpool could be sold. In the months since, amid claims of interest from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Germany and the United States, reports have shifted towards a minority investment. Henry, principal owner of Liverpool and founder of FSG, has now confirmed the club is not for sale. Speaking to the Boston Sports Journal, the 73-year-old was asked about potential plans to sell the Boston Red Sox and instead discussed the situation at Anfield. And he says, "I know there has been a lot of conversation and quotes about LFC, but I keep to the facts. We merely formalise an ongoing process," he replied. Will we be in England forever? No. Are we selling Liverpool? No. Are we talking with investors about LFC? Yes. Will something happen there? I believe so, but it won't be a sale. Have we sold anything in the past 20 plus years? This serves as an emphatic rebuttal to ongoing speculation over Liverpool's future, even though it may not be a welcome one amongst a section of the club's supporters. Yeah, the section that I've just told you about. The ones that literally, it's fine when we're winning. Oh, everything's all hunky-dory. They'll be quiet. You won't see their names. If we lost to Newcastle 2 or 3-0, they are like a disease that spreads. They are waiting for Liverpool to fail and speak up. Who supports their club praying for failure to get something right? Do you know why I'm so for FSG? Because I want that feeling I had when I was on the pitch lifting them trophies again. I want that feeling I had when we were all in the pub singing together, when we were all drinking, when we were all getting ready for a Champions League final or an FA Cup final or a League Cup final. And that's why I want it to go well. Who wants it to go wrong just so they can get their banners out and so they can become like Man United, which is, oh, it's the Glazers' fault when we're not winning any games, but it isn't the Glazers' fault now that we're back in the title race. So the yellow and the green scarves come out every time, you know, Man United are losing, and then they go away when they're winning. That's the fan base that I despise, right? You're spoiled brats that can't handle a couple of defeats. That saying, form is temporary, class is permanent, isn't just a saying, you know. And here's the biggest saying that that section, don't get. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high is the lyrics to You'll Never Walk Alone. With you lot, you're not allowed a storm. Because in that storm, everybody's shit. Henderson can't play no more, get rid of him. Fabinho's dog shit, sell him. Salah's dog shit, sell him. FSG are crap, sell up, let's get somebody else in. You cannot handle form dipping and then the things, you know, it going back up again. I actually love it. I'm going to be honest, I absolutely love it when, if Liverpool have a bad run, I actually become more of, it's mad, it's like a family member being slagged off and you're sticking up for them. It's like your club is supposed to be where your heart beats, and when they're getting hammered from, like I said, from pillar to post, and then they start winning again, there's no better feeling. So in a way, when we lose games, it makes the winning better. But if you're praying for Liverpool to lose, to then get your campaigns and your Twitter threads out, you're not a supporter. I'm sorry, but supporters are, it's in the narrative, it's in the saying, there to support. We're not board members, we are supporters. And I look at it like this: if FSG were Hicks and Gillette, I'd be part of your campaign. If FSG made false promises about building the stands and didn't do it, I would be joining you. If they didn't buy any players and just banked everything, I'd be joining you. If Anfield was still 44,000, I'd be joining you. But it's not. There's so much credit in the bank from Klopp and them that you're not even close to it, to thinking you've got a voice at the moment. A lot of you actually thought you were. I mean, some of you on Twitter trying to start, you know, bringing your flags and banners. You've got no chance. Spirit of Shankly, Scousers, people of that city are the ones that start that shit. Not somebody 10,000 miles away. It's going to be the people that have had their granddads, their uncles, their aunties, their sisters, their brothers going for Anfield for 100 years. They're the ones that start protests, not yous. No chance. So, I'm going to go through your comments, and like I say, I'm just really pleased with the news because it means we can kick on now, and it's important that when we're going for players in the summer, they know that the board, the supporters, and Klopp are all on the same hymn sheet. So here we go. I'm just going to read some comments. Good news, Stuart Box. Yeah, how you doing, mate? Sam Edwards. Hi, mate. How are you doing today, mate? And I agree with you. Yeah. Cheers, Sam. Stephen Lambert. Fantastic news that came today from FSG and John Henry. They keep their promises. Ryan Bignell. Yeah, I read that one out, mate. Chris Hissey. I don't know about FSG out. More like plastic fans out. Sam, I agree with you, mate. Yes, Liverpool till I die. Yeah, Sam. Cheers. Them overseas fans didn't even support us in the Rodgers days. Do you know what, Ryan? I'm just going to say something, mate, about this. This is incredible. This is tickets. You know, during that bad run we had, well, you know, because it didn't look like to some fans, it didn't look like we were going to get into the top four. You know, because it did until we've won these last two games. It didn't really look like to some supporters that we had a chance. Tickets became easier to get. I mean, you could have gone, and this is what I'm talking about: glory hunting fans. Now, because we've won the last two, everybody want to go again. But I mean, I obviously live in Scotland now, but I've been to over 150 games in my time as a Liverpool fan. But I remember not missing a game for a couple of years, and it was under Rodgers, and we lost. I think we were like mid-table, and I had a ticket for every single match. Every single match. I did not, and this was just a members' sale. I wasn't even a season ticket holder. The minute Rodgers was sacked and Klopp came in, I got tickets for the next few, and that was it. Eventually, I was pushed out because soon as Liverpool started becoming big again, the fans that were there, I was at Stoke when we lost 6-1 away, by the way. We were 5-0 down at half time. I was at West Ham when we got beat with when Benteke was shocking at Upton Park. I've been to so many games where Liverpool have been beaten, and it hurts. I've been to Wembley 3 times and we've been beat, and it hurts. But the thing is with me is, if you lot stop going, the ones that don't like Liverpool, if they can't win everything every year, then guess who goes again? Fans like me that are there for the club through the piss down rain, through, you know, rain and shine, highs and lows, because that's what a supporter does. So glory fans have always been my pet hate, but you have them at every club. You have them at Man United, you have them at Arsenal, you have them at so many. Arsenal are having problems with tickets at the moment, so it just happens. But anyway, I'm really pleased about this news, because it means we can all stop this shite now. That, you know, FSG know they've got to spend money in the summer. We all know that, and it's going to happen. And yeah, when it does, hopefully now we can all just get back to being what we are, which is the best fans in the world, and start having parades again. You'll never walk alone.